Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank the American Middle East Institute for inviting me to this important event, and it's always to be back. It's always good to be back here to the U.S. As it's my first time here to Pittsburgh. It's a nice place. So I think I'm gonna come back again to Pittsburgh. I was in Cleveland and Boston before that, so all great places. It always brings back memory to me coming back to the U.S. because I've done my bachelor's degree here in Texas. And many people ask me why Texas, and the reason is because at that time I wanted a good university and affordable housing, and the only place that could match those two criteria was Texas. So, but I don't regret going there, and but I haven't been back, so maybe I should go back and visit. Are the slides on, or? No slides? Okay, here we go. Great. So basically, I know we've been talking about different things here, economic development, culture, friendships, and I think they're all important and they're part of the cycle of business. But perhaps I want to maybe talk about a little bit of the history of our organization and how we have started these business parks from '99. There was a very important event just yesterday which I missed, and that marked the 15th anniversary of Dubai Internet City and Dubai Media City. And those two entities were really set with a vision, and also to really drive the economic development. So for example, Dubai Internet City was established when the e-government in the UAE was announced. It was really the engine behind the electronic transformation, and that really fueled the economy. And also Media City was established when broadcast was privatized, and with the Media City, really the broadcast really changed in the region. 20 years ago, it was only governments that used to do broadcast, but now it's mainly controlled by the private sector. At the same time, the education cluster also came up. So with the establishment of Internet City and Media City, it was important that there was a talent pool to fuel those industries. So then there was the establishment of Knowledge Village and Academic City. So in the years '99 and 2000, there was the establishment of these three clusters. That was ICT, media, and education. And then there was the establishment of the entity that I look after, which has to do with science. So many people ask, why biotechnology? Why life sciences? What happened, or what is it that attracted the UAE and Dubai to go into something that it's not really known for? And the story is that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, he's a horse breeder and he loves horses, and he has a performance laboratory that basically monitors the performance of his horses, and he has a couple of scientists working for him. And in 2004 and the years prior to that, there was an announcement by the Singaporean government that Singapore would create a biotech cluster called Biopolis. And we in Dubai, we always looked at Singapore as a model, and we really liked the things that they've done and how they have really been the gateway to Asia. His Highness had a vision that if Singapore can do this, and they're really a very small country, and they're very similar to Dubai, why not us? So there was a vision of creating a biotech cluster, and that vision was really given to us, a team, to execute that. But then when we were putting the strategy and the plans together, we realized that we have so many things missing. We don't have an R&D infrastructure, we don't have grants, we don't have a lot of scientists. So how are we going to do this? And we were very close to go back to him and say, you know what, I think this is not going to work. But obviously, knowing that he does not take no for an answer, we really had to work very hard and come up with a solution. So, I must say that I was the only one who had a little bit of hope, because I could really relate to the issues that the region had. So the region had a lot of chronic illnesses. In my family, I have a lot of my aunts who have diabetes, and I realized that the number of people who have diabetes is around 25% of the population. The pharmaceutical spend of the GDP ranges from 2 to 4%, whereas other countries around the world is as high as 15, sometimes 20%. So there was a huge gap between where we are and where we should be as a nation. So my idea was that if we're going to create a cluster, let's start with creating or attracting companies that can access the market immediately. And from there, it was really the beginning. And we concentrated on companies who can immediately access the market and create a critical mass. So I'm happy to say that when I joined in 2006, there was 20 companies, and now we have more than 150 companies in the biotech cluster. So that's the story, and I'll just take you through the slides just to give you some more information. And we also, after the announcement of DuBiotech in 2005, we also announced another virtual free zone called EnPark that is dedicated for energy and environment. And I'll tell you why in the coming slides. So can we go to the next slide, please? It's a pity I don't have. Oh, okay, that's the right. Does this work? No. Okay. Can we go back, please? Yes. So with EnPark. So I'm going to start with EnPark and then go into DuBiotech, because the panel that I'll be part of is a healthcare one. We basically focused on 4 sectors, and that is energy efficiency, green buildings, and waste management. And the reason why we have done this is because we saw a very clear guidelines and regulations coming in these 4 areas, and so there is a lot of plans for reducing, for example, to change the energy mix from what it is now, 95% carbon, and then 5% is from renewable. There is a plan by 2030 that only 70% will be from oil and gas, and the other 30% will be from other sources, mainly renewables. Next. These are some of the companies that we have. I'm going to go fast, so these are just some examples. For DuBiotech, I'm going to give you some more details on that. This is the master plan of DuBiotech and the infrastructure that we have created. We have spent around $400 million into creating the infrastructure, and they range from buildings, infrastructure, laboratories, etc. Next. So this is just a few of the 150 companies that we have. We can't put everyone on this slide, but these are some of the names. Next. I think these are some just some pictures. So in terms of what we do, like I said, we have been given a clear mandate in terms of creating a cluster. We have reached to a critical mass of 150 companies, and we don't just stop at providing infrastructures. That is only one part of what we do. We're also very active in having discussions with regulators, with the industry, and also with academia, because it's all about creating an ecosystem. It's not the industry is just one part of the ecosystem. The other ecosystem is the academia, the R&D that comes out of the academia, the talent that is created to work on those companies, and also the regulators to make sure that there are new laws and regulations that support innovations and new things. And we're very active in terms of creating events, having dialogue, being part of different events and different delegations to make sure that we reach our ultimate goal. And I think with the base that we have now of this critical mass, it's very easy for us to go to the next level and to create innovation. And this is so we can put the cherry on top of the cake, and rather than starting the project with the cherry. And creating innovation is really the vision of the government as well. So yesterday there was an announcement that there will be 4.5 billion dirham, which is roughly $1 billion, a little bit more than that, where Dubai wants to go into an innovation economy, from a knowledge-based economy to an innovation economy. And I think it's going to be a challenging road. It's not easy to do that. I was in Boston last week, and I was really impressed with what the US has done, but that obviously took him a very, very long time, with having institutes such as MIT and Harvard, and you really need all of that put together to create innovation. So it's going to be, I think, an interesting 10 more years to see as to how are we going to do that. There is the vision, there is, I think, determination, but doing that or realizing the dream, I think, is going to be a tough journey. And I look forward to working with all of you, whether you are from the academia or from the industry or from the investment side, to realizing that dream. Thank you very much. Do we take questions now or at the panel?
2 questions.
2 questions? Okay. Any questions from the audience? No? Go ahead.
What are the activities that are taking as the preparation of the Dubai Expo 2020?
On the infectious diseases, I think we've made big strides in cardiovascular. I think there's a lot of stuff for diabetes.
Is that Jeff answering my question? I didn't hear you. EnPark, you said?
My question was with regards to the Expo 2020.
Yes.
And how the park is basically integrating its activities to the Expo 2020.
So EnPark was announced before we won the expo. So when we won the expo, it was great because the vision of Expo 2020 is very much in line with what we are trying to do and we're facilitating. So the role that we play there is that the expo wants to be a self-sufficient, very clean area using a lot of renewable energy, etc., with green buildings. So all of that, visions and plans that the expo has is very in line with the activities of the companies that are in EnPark. So, one of the examples is that the Sheikh Mohammed Solar Park, which was launched this year, the company that installed the solar panels is called the First Solar. It's a U.S. company, and that company is actually in the EnPark cluster. So it will really, fuel a lot of the growth of the companies in Dubai to work with Expo as a project, but also later on in other projects as well. And there is a lot happening. If we only talk about the solar, solar parks, there is a lot happening in Jordan. There is a lot happening in Saudi as well. And it's interesting to see that, a country like Saudi, with all of its oil wealth, it's also thinking about renewable energy. And I think it's very smart to diversify your energy mix, and this way you reduce your risk on depending on one source of energy. Any more questions? I think we can start the panel now, and then we could perhaps have more questions. Thank you again.